Two quick updates for you before we get to the podcast. First is Zwift training plans. We've just launched these. Zwift races are extremely hard. We all know that if you've done them before. There's basically zero coasting time. The power seems to be just sweet spot and above. And then it always finishes with, it has decisive hard moments, but it finishes with these brutally hard 5-minute efforts. We've analyzed a bunch of different Zwift races and we've built out training plans specifically for that. Also for training for Alp to Zwift, if you want to get your time better on that. If you go through TrainerRoad's training plan builder and you select as your type of riding Zwift, and then after that you select the goals like we talked about, Alp to Zwift or anything else like that, getting better for Zwift races, you now have training plans specifically for it. And here's the cool part. This isn't just for the Zwift training plans. For any training plan, if you do Zwift races as part of your training, you can now swap any hard interval workout in your training plan for a Zwift race. Just click on that, you can edit it over and swap it out. You can also do that when you're building your training plan. Let's say you do a race every Friday, you can make it so that every Friday it's a Zwift race instead of that hard workout. Now, all that's live for everybody. It's fantastic, go check it out. Now, second, the other point that I want to talk about is our training plan builder and an update we're making to it. In the fall, we launched an update to it where it analyzed your entire training history, knows your potential, then it knows where you're at currently, and then it meets you where you're at with a recommended training schedule. This has been hugely helpful for tons of athletes, and we've added on to it today. Basically, what we've added now is that you can, at any point when you're training through your training plan, there's now a check volume button when you're going to edit your training plan. And then you can have TrainerRoad check and analyze if you need more or less training volume at that current time. We recommend doing it once every month or so. You can check that button, and then if you need more training volume or less training volume, it'll tell you and it'll adjust it for you. It's super easy. Those updates are live for everybody. Without further, or you can go check them out at TrainerRoad.com. Sign up for TrainerRoad.com to get faster. And without further ado, let's get into the podcast. Welcome to the Stage 4 recap of the 2025 ABSA Cape Epic on the Ask a Cycling Coach podcast presented by TrainerRoad. We are, of course, checking in with Team Cycle Sport, Alex Wild, and Zach Galton. Stage 4, it was still hot for you guys. I'm going to run through the stats really quick. 80 kilometers, 50 miles, roughly. 1,950 meters or 6,397 feet of climbing. That's such a huge mountain bike day for anybody listening to that. That's like a proper day. Your finish time, you guys came in 25th on the stage at 3 hours and 20 minutes and 46 seconds, 14 minutes behind the leaders. Your GC position, you moved up again. You're down to 26th now instead of 29th. 3 positions, way to go. Total race time of 14:59:05. You are 1 hour, 25 minutes, and 5 seconds behind the lead GC rider team at this point. Guys, looking at this stage, I saw you, Alex, with ice socks already in the morning, I think. Was that right? Even today? Yeah. Was it hot again?
It was a little toasty. So I asked our mechanic for an ice sock on the start line because it's not going to hurt, but yeah, I think we underestimated the heat because I definitely should have had a pack as well. That hour and a half to the first aid station was not an hour and a half to the first aid station. Mm-hmm. I was fully dry when we got there.
Oh, how long were you dry for? And what do we mean by dry is not having something to drink?
Yeah, so like 20 minutes.
Oh, geez, that's not a small amount of time though.
It was not a pleasant 20 minutes.
You separate your carbs and your fluid when you are riding. Were you still taking in gels without being able to take in water?
Yeah, the carbs gels are pretty liquidy. And even if they weren't, I'd rather have the fuel than not have it. So lesson learned though, I will be at the start line with a pack tomorrow because we got 4 days to that first aid station?
Yeah, it's a haul of the first aid tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. I feel like tomorrow will dominate our conversation here. Before we do that, Zach, how is the stage for you? How's the body feeling?
Yeah, more of the same. I'm struggling off the starts. I'm having some weird like right leg hurting worse than the left leg thing going on right now, which is odd and not something I've dealt with in my career. So just kind of got to be patient with that and pedal with my left leg sometimes. And yeah.
Hold on. Are you when you're saying that, are you one-legged pedaling or?
I mean, my right leg
is clipped in, just one leg is pushing more.
I'm one leg pedaling. Yeah. The right leg is just along for the ride. I don't know why it's I kind of mentioned it to Alex, started yesterday, like an hour in, and then kind of went away. And today it was like right away, and then also went away after like, I mean, never really fully went away, but it's not so severe after like that first hour. But yeah, it just seems like I've got that ceiling, and then luckily a lot of guys are cracking, and I just kind of stay right at that ceiling, and they just start coming back eventually.
Jeez. So it's maybe a blessing in disguise to be handicapped, to not put yourself too deep in the box in the beginning, because you end up pulling people back later on.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, I can't lie. I'd still rather be able to get that, on my own rather than be forced to. But yeah, it's nice not to crack at the end. I think I think that sets you up for a tougher tomorrow. Like some of the guys we passed yesterday, late in the stage, were completely gassed like half an hour into today, and we put 40 minutes into a couple of those teams that were, in contention earlier this week, and are just
wow. Yeah, this is it's an interesting concept here, because in one respect, like you said, you just want to be fresh and be able to go, but you can get yourself in a lot of trouble when you're not governed. And something about stage racing in particular, that cumulative fatigue after a day like yesterday where it was so extremely hot, and then today hot again, that will add up and make it so that it's really difficult for your body to recover to any like portion of what you once were prior to those hard stages. Are you feeling that fatigue, Alex? I saw that you went down today. I don't know the context behind that. Are you feeling, because we've talked about this before, this is relatively speaking an easier pedaling effort than if you were just all out, but are you feeling the fatigue?
I don't think it's impossible not to feel the fatigue. And I guess to put it into context for everyone, Zach having bad days, I still haven't seen under 300 normalized power for an entire stage. So just for all the power nerds out there, his bad days are still not like we're just on a zone 2 ride chilling. Like, yes, he can go faster, but I still have not seen under 300. So
oh my gosh. That's really, I can't imagine imagine doing 300 normalized power in the course of a week over 15 hours. That's like, think of a training week and think of doing a 15-hour week and having a normalized power the whole time of 300 watts or above. That's absolutely crazy. How'd you crash today, Alex? Fill us in.
That's the price we pay for Zach's pure nasty American seed sometimes. I was following comfortably. I just made a stupid mistake. We've had a lot of nice hard-packed groom berms, and there was a bit soft berm. So just tucked my front wheel real good, and then hit the ground. Nothing serious. Like my knee on the frame, it was a little sore after. And then I think the hardest part, we were talking about this, and I think this is still to this day, the one thing that no one's really mentioned about Tade's performance at Strade is the fact that he got up from that crash and still just went full gas on the descents. Like the power is one thing. Like if you don't hit muscles or do any serious damage, you can still pedal your bike, but it's pretty impressive that he can just lock back in. So I struggled with that a little bit, but I think by the end I was coming around and being back on Zach's wheel. Luckily with the fitness discrepancy right now, I could kind of just let Zach go and operate within that comfort zone of you kind of have to do a systems check and start checking the bobber again. Like, sweet, I can turn. Sweet, I can let the tire slide again. Sweet, I can ride bike. All right, cool. We'll get back to that.
Looking at this profile, I'm looking at your time splits. At 9 kilometers in, you were in 38th position. At 26 kilometers in, which if we're looking at the profile, that's around where that first water point was, you were 35th position. When we get to 41 kilometers, so at that point you've had a descent, you guys are in 26th position. So you gained 9 spots on that descending and then that climb in between there too. And then after that, you drop to 25th position, or I should say in a good way, you want to drop down in positions. You go to 25th position, then after that, you're in 25th for the rest of the race. Zach, what happened in the first 40 Ks of that stage to move you guys up? Was it pure descending, or did you notice that your governed power was enough?
Yeah, I mean, early on when it's like pure pack racing, I just unfortunately just don't have it right now. So I'm like in like the gruppetto or off the back of the gruppetto. Like, I mean, maybe like by the timing that I'm in 39th, but like there are definitely times when I'm like, how many teams are there, brother? I'm at the bottom. I just, it's really brutal. But then eventually, Alex and there's no use like staying like perfectly on each other's wheel. So he'll kind of go up and chop wheels with the fast guys and use his fitness for that and get up there. And then eventually he'll kind of pull the chute and wait for me. And when I get to him, I'm still kind of suffering, but we kind of will just give me a sec, get to a group, maybe Alex will pull me and that group along for a bit. But then all we need is like usually a couple little turns, like even in that fire road stuff. And I'll just kind of lead in. Alex will kind of sag and shoot up to me. And then we kind of snap the elastic on that group. And no real descending, but we pick up a bunch of spots that way. Just these little moves. And then once we snap that elastic, Alex can then just pull me, and no one on that train can keep up with Alex. And so then by the time we start the descending proper, we've made a bunch of spots that way in the farmland. And then, yeah, once the descending gets going, it seems like that's where the fatigue starts hitting a lot of guys. They're not descending well. And then because they're descending so tense, it's like these shorter climbs afterward.
It's because they're fatigued.
They're just going nowhere. And so we make up a ton of time on like especially like the first 5 minutes following a descent. And that's just kind of how she goes.
Yeah.
Zach is probably the most modest person about his descending, but it is insane to watch. It's comical because we both come from XC, and I was messing with him that the most scary thing I ever see on a descent is caution, slow down, because we go through a section and I'm still looking for what the caution slow down was for. So I'm like timidly going around corners and I'm like, I think we went past it. I think we went past the danger. Because we're so used to XP where it's like mandatory drop, mandatory gap, mandatory like something obvious is about to show up in front of you and you should probably check it before you send it. And here it's like there's a couple rocks or a bridge so it's not that it's not technical, but our brains are wired in such a way that when we see a line or danger, we're expecting something completely else. So
Yeah.
I'll like hit the brakes and I'm like, oh, never mind.
Tomorrow, you guys are going to be moving over kind of across like the Stellenbosch region. You're going to go right through some really, really famous trails, like where the G spot is and everything else in that area of Stellenbosch. It's the Queen stage. You also go up the neck, it's called, which looks like there was an aberration, like an error when they were laying out the profile because it's just up. So you guys are going to have a 98 kilometer, 61 mile, 2,850 meter, 9,350 foot climbing day. That's a big day. It's a point-to-point one. You're going to be transferring over to the Lawrenceford Wine Estate area. What are we thinking for tomorrow? Is it just rinse and repeat? Same strategy now that you guys feel like you've had something that you've locked in on? Rain, I don't know if you guys can tell us if it's raining there right now, but that also is something potentially in the cards.
Got some sprinkles going on.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'd call it rain, but
Looks like they'll just kind of, make the dirt a little less dusty. It'll actually be nice as long as it continues at this pace.
Yeah.
So fingers crossed for that.
it
Because
doesn't seem like a downpour.
be a long day in the mud otherwise.
I don't know what it's actually called, but I think we continue to stink bug it, whatever.
Cockroach.
That one.
Yeah. We cockroach it.
Yes,
Yeah.
cockroach.
Yeah. I mean, it's like we say, like, there's no conscious decision to take it from the back. It just, that's what the legs do right now. So we'll see. Tomorrow's a new day. I'll test them at the beginning. But yeah, if it comes to that, that's what we'll do again.
Stage win inbound.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of I really wish that you were actually doing one-legged drills. It'd be amazing just seeing Zach in the middle of the pack doing a one-legged drill. It'd be quite the flex, Zach.
I might have to, yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's no power coming from it. So I might as well get some street cred or whatever. From just
That's right.
yeah.
Get some leg swag. If it does indeed end up being rainy, that sort of stuff, and end up being muddy, it'll be an adventure. Everyone will want to tune in for it tomorrow, whether it's muddy or not, because it's the Queen stage. It's the biggest stage, and then after this, there's just 2 stages left. This middle chunk, it probably feels like a long way to get to the point where you're past halfway in this race, and then all of a sudden, you only have a couple stages left. So we're getting there. 3 stages left. You're moving up in GC step by step every day. This is an exciting one. For everybody paying attention, listening, watching, thank you so much. Support these athletes. You can do so by going and getting in touch with them and supporting them through their Instagram channels. We link those down below in the description. You can also, their sponsor, CycleSport, which has made this possible, you can use the code CAPEEPIC at CycleSport. It's an online bike retailer. You can get all the different parts and things that you need, and 10% of your sales will go toward supporting Alex and Zach and all the costs that have been outlaid in order to get them there to this race, which is a significant amount. This is fantastic. Way to go, guys. I'm looking forward to hearing from you tomorrow, and hopefully you're dry, not too wet.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Thank you.